Welcome to lecture 9 on the course circuit theory. So till now what we have done, till now we have written the circuit equations using mesh analysis and nodal analysis for the resistive networks. That resistive networks may consist of dependent sources or independent sources also. Now from this onwards we will see the networks which will consist of the dynamic element, that is what will happen or how can we do the analysis of the networks if the network is dynamic. Dynamic in the sense, if the circuit or network consists of energy storage elements which are your inductor and capacitors. These are your dynamic elements, or you can call it as the memory devices also. So till now whatever we have seen, that were all the static network or static circuit where I don't need any past history. But when I look for the dynamic elements, then I must have to know all the past history in order to analyze the network. Okay. Now the problem here, I will categorize this problem into 3 steps. One is, let us describe the problem. So I will have the dynamic network, right? So I will have the dynamic network, let's say the network which will consist of resistors and elements. To this resistor and capacitor as an elements with resistors, inductors and capacitors, and to this I would like to supply the energy source. Let us say like this, I would like to supply some energy source, maybe voltage source, maybe current source, through some switch. Okay, so now what will happen? So when I am connecting my dynamic network to the source through my switch S, now I would like to identify that when switch will be closed, the output of energy source has to be E of t into U of t, right? So once switch will be closed, the output of this energy source will be E of t multiplied with U of t. So E of t will be your any time varying either voltage source excitation or current source, and multiplied with U of t. U of t we know that is your unit step function or unit step signal, which looks like it is 1 when your value of independent variable is t is greater than 0, right? So this is my unit step function. Mathematically I can write it is 1 for t is greater than or equal to 0 and it is 0 elsewhere. Okay. So what I am seeing from this is that if I have an energy source, let's say I don't know what are the limits of it, maybe from minus infinity to what. Now I would like to visualize the behavior of the network from t greater than or equal to 0. Then what should I do? I should multiply my unit step function to my voltage source E of t, so that the output of my energy source will be E of t into U of t. Okay. Once I have done this switching, so after switching, what is the output we said? That is E of t multiplied with U of t, right? Okay. Now what next? Once I have done this, I have some ports here. Once I have done this, now again what next? First already we defined, that is the output of energy source will be E of t, U of t. Now next, in order to analyze the behavior or in order to analyze the dynamic network, or I will say in order to find out the voltages and currents of various branches, I must have to know all the conditions or all the behavior before closing the switch of your memory storage devices. It means I must have to know what are the initial voltages and initial currents, right? So I must have to find out what are my initial voltages and currents. Okay, now assume that now I know all the initial voltages and currents of your energy storage elements. Now next what I will do, next problem is to find out the voltages and currents for the various branches or of the various branches. This is what my problem definition now. So in order to do this, what will be our roadmap here? First, we will just have a quickly review on this energy storage element, that is inductors and capacitors. That we will see what is its voltage current relationship in circuit perspective, and we'll try to derive it from field interpretation to circuit interpretation, its terminal behavior. Then next, once we know the behavior of our voltage current relationship or in terms of circuit perspective, then what we'll do, we will write the equations of the network, which will consist of inductors and capacitors, using mesh analysis and nodal analysis. Okay, so mesh analysis and nodal analysis we will use to write the equations for the dynamic circuits. Okay, now once we have written this, what we will observe that the equations consist of integral differential equations, or maybe integral differential equations may be there, or there may be only differential equations. Okay, so we will observe that there may be the differential equations or there may be integral differential equations. So as we know the solution of differential equations, so what we will do, if the equation consists of integrals also, we will try to differentiate that till my integral part will remove, so that I will get the resultant equation in terms of differential form. And as I know how to solve the differential equation using the solution of differential equation, that is, we have to find out the complementary solution and particular integral, right? Okay. Then next also we will observe that there may be some difficulty for the solution of the differential equation, that complexity may increase. So how this complexity can be reduced? So we will look the other tool, that is called as Laplace transform, using Laplace transform to solve the differential equations, and we'll see the analysis of various dynamic circuits, including the resistors, inductors and capacitors. Okay, so this will be the roadmap for this. Okay, now let us start with inductors. Okay, so first let us start with inductor. So what is inductor? What is the terminal behavior of inductor? If I'll draw like this, something like this, and say to this inductor I'll supply the excitation as V of t. So what will happen with L? So current will flow in it and the polarities will be something like this. Okay, this will be my convention from now onwards, or I can draw this way also. So this will be my convention. In this direction my I of t will flow. Okay, so in order to define the voltage current relationship for the inductor, let me see how that we can obtain it. Okay, so to say it, as we know, according to the Faraday's law of induction, or let me according to Faraday's law, we know that the EMF will, or voltage will induced in a stationary conductor, which can be thought of the changing the flux linkage with respect to time, or it is the rate of change of flux linkage with respect to time, and that we can write as the EMF induced will be equal to some constant into rate of change of your flux linkage psi. Okay, where psi will be a flux linkage, and that you can express into number of conductors into magnetic flux. Okay, and its integral form will be what? Psi will be, you can integrate from minus infinity to, let's say, t, your V of tau d tau. This will be my integral form. So what it will be, in order to have flux linkage, I should have the voltage across, or EMF induced across the inductor. In other words, that also we can see. Now in terms of field interpretation also, we know what is the psi, or let us express what is the magnetic field. That we can express in terms of what is magnetic flux. You can express in terms of magnetic field with some geometry. So let me take the some surface of integration, so that can be, you can compute the surface integral the integral over surface with the magnetic field into the angle between the surface of integral and field density with respect to your ds. Okay, and your psi will become n times, psi means your flux linkage will become n times the surface integral for the magnetic field density with the angle between the surface of integration with the magnetic field density, right? This we know it. So in this, what we have done, we have expressed the lines or the magnetic field density by the lines of flux or magnetic flux. Now also we can also express the small change in magnetic field density as dB, and let me consider some geometry for this. Say this is my some small current carrying conductor like this, where I is flowing, right? And if I would like to compute the magnetic field density at this point dB, so what it can be, we know that force will be directed at right angle to the current carrying conductor, and in order to compute, let me take with respect to the small change in the length. So with this I will get some angle, let me call this angle is alpha, and suppose this distance is r. So for that also I can write the change in the small change in magnetic field can be written as mu, that is called as the magnetic permeability, and which is a function of the medium in which magnetic field exists, into the current which is carrying through the conductor, into the angle between your point P with the some length you are considering for the current carrying conductor, divided by 4 pi r square, where r is the distance from point P to the conductor, and into some small change, that is dl, right? Fine. Now magnetic field density, that is the force per unit magnetic pole, we know. Okay, so what can be written now? I need I would like to express in terms of B, and this is small change. So what I will do, I will integrate this. So if I'll integrate, I'll get it mu I cos alpha 4 pi r square with respect to dl. So now I will use this in psi, that is psi will be equal to n, your surface integral B, already you have computed this integral, which will be mu cos alpha, let me slightly modify this, 4 pi r square with respect to dl, this will be your one term and this will be your second term, okay, and with respect to your I, everything come mu cos alpha dl 4 pi r square into cos theta also, yeah, into some cos theta angle also, yeah, it will come there, okay, and multiply with ds, oh, let me write again, so mu cos alpha cos theta, fine, then with respect to dl, then with respect to ds, and all multiplied with I. So this is integral. If I'll evaluate, I'll get it some geometry, right, and the geometry can be defined as the coefficient that is called as inductance, okay. So for any geometry I can calculate it, or if I'll measure the flux linkage and if I measure the current, then I'll be able to know what is the inductance value. So this L is called as self inductance. Okay, this is actually the definition of self inductance. So flux linkage will be equal to self inductance multiplied with current. And if I would like to do the define for the mutual inductance, what it will be, if the current I1 produces some flux linkage in another circuit, then that flux linkage can be described or can be expressed in the form of mutual inductance, right? So with this may I get the voltage current relationship for this inductor? So what we have written for voltage, V was EMF induced was rate of change of the magnetic flux linkage, okay, and already recently we have derived d dt of L into I, so this also can be written as L into di by dt. There is very simple equation, okay. So we came to know that the EMF induced will be not my, this is not there, EMF induced will be L into di by dt. This is in differential form, so there is no question of the initial condition. Now let me express in terms of current through the inductor. So what it will be, current through the inductor for the time varying, that is for this point t, you can define as the integral v of tau to d tau divided by L. Okay, now the question is, yeah, the upper limit we can derive, that is t, because I would like to know what is the current at this point t. Now what will be the lower limit? Now I don't know anything, so mathematically let me write the minus infinity. Okay, so this will be my integral behavior, and if I would like to express this, I should know what is my constant of integration, or integration constant. Okay, so now I would like to evaluate the current and time constant. So upper limit we have declared. Now we have to visualize this, how the switch will close or how the switch will open. Okay, so this equation also, now what we have already described, that the dynamic circuit is there. To the dynamic circuit I will connect the energy source through my switch. So that way I would like to write it, that is, once the switch will be closed, what is the behavior, and before closing the switch, what was the behavior. So this much past information I need it. So in order to obtain the past information, let me break this equation like this. So current through the inductor I of t will be equal to minus infinity, so let's say 0 negative. Now let me qualify this 0. So what it will be, this is 0, it is 1 point, right? And let me define very infinite, simply very small point whose value, let's say minus 1.7 into 10 raised to minus 100, that you can define. Let me call this is 0 minus, and just after that 0, let me define one more point, that is 0 plus point, right? So 0 minus point is the point which will be giving me the information regarding this before the switch is closed, okay, and 0 plus is the point which will give the information after the switching has been done, okay. So I would like to express the things, so that will be minus infinity to 0 minus, it will be v of tau d tau, which will be 1 by L, plus let me write also what is the behavior from minus infinity to 0 plus, means what will happen before and after the switching immediately, okay. So that behavior let me describe like this: 0 minus to 0 plus, this is v of tau d tau, and then once switching has been done, after some time your inductor will be charged or discharged, that can be described as v of tau d tau. So this behavior or this current through the inductor will be for the initially relaxed inductor, okay. This will happen now, relaxed inductor. Now all the information before the switching happened, it was like this. Now look at this term carefully. What does it mean? Okay, this is very important. So now if I am closing the switch, so what is the dynamic before the switch and after the switch, that I would like to define it. So if there is a dynamic present between 0 negative to 0 positive, see already we have defined the 0 negative point as well 0 positive point, okay, which will be very infinite, simply small, okay, and practically it is 0, single point only, but to discriminate between the before switching and after switching phenomena, that for that only we will take this point. So if let's say the area under this curve is 1. What does it mean? There is the existence of sudden jump or sudden change, right? And by which signal we can define it? That we know this is the phenomena of impulse function, right? Which is infinite amplitude pulse. Okay. And what is the impulse function? Impulse function will be very short duration of time for very short, very infinite magnitude or amplitude for very short duration of time. Example is your lightning, right? And that mathematically, graphically, how can we visualize? It will be your analog, let's say, unit impulse signal. Okay, and this is a t is equal to 0, and the symbolic representation is delta t is 1. Okay, for this, or how to define it? That is the area under the curve for this minus infinity to plus infinity. This way is not correct to define, so let me define this. Minus infinity to plus infinity delta t dt will be equal to 1. Okay, so area under the curve will be 1, right? So maybe from 0 minus to 0 plus, whatever the point, right? So with this, what can I conclude? If this area under the curve is 1, what does it mean? Definitely there is some sudden jump at 0 point. There is some sudden discontinuity present, which is having the infinite magnitude for very short duration of time. It indicates that there is a presence of impulse or derivative of impulse. Okay, and there is impulse or derivative of impulse. So what happened? And generally for the domestic appliances or anything, if I'll make it switch on, and if there is a sharp magnitude or sharp amplitude for very short duration of time, what may happen to your device? Your device may spoil, right? So generally, in order to have the smooth functioning, let me try to avoid the impulsive nature. Okay, unless and otherwise it has been specified for a particular application. Okay, so it is better to analyze it in the circuit perspective. That let me define that my impulse is 0 or derivative of impulses of 0. So with this understanding, with this assumption, let me assume now in this behavior I of t, that is the impulse, is absent. So what I can write for this? I of t will be equal to 1 by L minus infinity to 0 negative your v of tau d tau plus now I would like to compute the voltages and currents for t is greater than or equal to 0 positive, okay, which will be at t point v of tau d tau, right? Or again what we said, 1 by L, this is okay, that way. Instead of that, let me say this way. Let me put it the shortcut for this. So current through the inductor will be, this is my now initial condition. So let me write IL of 0 negative, which specify the initial condition or which specify the current before the switching happens. And this will be my 1 by L, let's say 0, let us generalize it, 0 negative to 2 v of tau d tau. Now let me evaluate at t is equal to 0 plus, and let me say what will happen here. Okay, so if this I of t, where it is? Yeah, here. Oh no, I of t now I have defined. So suppose let me evaluate it at t is equal to 0 positive. So what will be I of t? I of 0 positive will be equal to IL of 0 negative plus 1 by L 0 negative to 0 positive v of tau d tau, and we have assumed that here there is no impulse or derivative of impulse, so this will be equal to 0. Okay, so what is the result here? I will get it, the current after switching will be equal to the current before switching, right? So this is my law of conservation of flux. Okay, what does it mean that? And generally what we know, the inductor stores energy in magnetic flux, so there will be the change in magnetic lines of force or magnetic field or magnetic flux, you can say. So if the switching happened and if there is an impulse present, what does it mean? There is a sudden change in the magnetic flux and magnetic field, which is very difficult to do that, right? So if I'm saying I of 0 positive is equal to IL of 0 negative, means what? There is no sudden change, or there is no sudden discontinuity, or there will not be sudden change happening before and after switching done. Okay, so this satisfy the law of conservation of flux. Okay, so magnetic energy will not change suddenly or instantaneously. This is what I would like to say. So this is my one conclusion, that the magnetic flux will not change instantaneously after switching happening. Okay, now again what I can do, I can say that okay, so suppose initially my inductor is relaxed only. So if it is a relaxed, what I will say, that IL 0 negative is 0. So what will be the thing? I of 0 positive, that is the current through the inductor after switching happen, is equal to 0, right? So what does it mean? When I'm switching it on, or when I'm closing the switch, what is happening through the conductor is that, sorry, not conductor, through the inductor is that, and we are assuming that also the initial current through the inductor is 0. So what does it mean? After switching happen, there is the 0 current at the point 0 plus. So what I can say, so initially relaxed inductor will be acting as an open circuit. Okay, will be acting as open circuit. So this is the behavior of the inductor. Okay, this is called initial condition. Now let me draw its what is it, equivalent diagram, equivalent circuit diagram. So what will be its equivalent circuit diagram? I have the I of t, which will be, I can write as IL of 0 negative, that is initial current, plus the current through the relaxed inductor, that is V of tau d tau, and this I can write as, so this is some value, so that I can put it as the source. Okay, so that now my inductor will become relaxed inductor. Okay, this right. So this will be my positive, negative. So I am pumping the current in it, and I am supplying the voltage. And what are the polarities? We assume that this, and should be current pass through this way. So if this is the case, what should be the arrow? Arrow should be like this. So let me call it as IL of 0 negative. Okay, this is the equivalent representation of my inductor. Okay, now with this I know now voltage current relationship between the voltage current relationship for the inductor. As well, let me find out what is my voltage current relationship for capacitor, and we'll stop it. Okay, so capacitor is also my energy storage element. Fine. Okay, and it is capacitor, it is in farad. So we'll know from school days that we have the two plates. We have the two plates like this. Okay, and there are the charges present, something like this. So obviously there will be the creation of electric field. So due to the existence of force by which the similar charges will be repel and opposite charges will be attract, and this force can be expressed as the Q1 charge into Q2 charge divided by 4 pi r square. This is my physical phenomena for the capacitor, right? And with this also, what will happen, there will be the lines of force, and assume the fringing effect, right? So what I can write is, in terms of electrical field generated will be equal to force required per unit charge to move it, right? This is my electrical field representation. And also let me express in terms of electrical flux. So that electrical flux or electrical field displacement is the charge per unit area, and we know the relation between the electrical flux density with electrical field, that is equal to the permittivity into the electrical field. So you can write electrical field is equal to the electrical flux density by your permittivity, and D you know that is Q divided by A into E. This is the field interpretation. Okay. And also I know if this is the geometry, I will consider what will be the voltage across the plate. So it will be, V will be equal to the electrical field into D is the distance between these two plates. So now voltage developed will be E. E is how much? Q divided by A into epsilon into D. Okay. So with this I can express in terms of V with Q. So it will be D divided by A into E into Q, and this geometry is called as a elastance. Okay. And capacitance is the opposite of elastance. Okay. So V will be equal to Q upon C, or small q upon C, and what is C? Capacitance will be A epsilon upon D. Okay, so your capacitance will be depend on the area, your permittivity, and the distance between the plates also. So with this already we know, but just for the review purpose let me take. So we can write as V is equal to QC, or Q will be equal to CV, and what I want the relation between V with I to interpret the circuit representation. So this again can be written as we know what is the relation between the current with voltage. So I is, or what it will be, I will be rate of change of charges. Okay. So with this what we can say, V will be equal to Q by C. So if I have the capacitor like this, and this is the representation, and if I have positive and negative charges, current flowing through it, and voltage applied across it, or voltage developed across it. So this is what the polarity we will consider henceforth. Fine. So what is the conclusion? Voltage will be there only when the charges will be there, right? And when the charges will be there? When I will do something so that current will flow through the capacitor, then only there will be the presence of charges. Okay. So this is what current I am doing. So I is equal to dq by dt. Okay. Now there is no initial condition. Okay. Now let me write it in terms of integral form. Okay. Now I would like to get it in terms of V and C. No. So okay. So what will be I? V is equal to QC. So Q will be equal to I. So Q will be equal to integral, that is minus infinity to t your I of tau into d tau. So what does it mean? Q will be giving me the present charges, or the charges present on the plates of the capacitor. Okay. So let me write this in terms of V. So what V will be? Q upon C. So it will be 1 upon C integral minus infinity to t I of tau d tau, or in current form what it will be? C into dV by dt. If it is a differential form, there is no initial condition, but if it is an integral form, the voltage across capacitor will be 1 by C minus infinity to t I of tau d tau. Again let me analyze the same way as what we have done for the inductor. So this let me break into 3 terms. 1 by C before closing the switch and after closing the switch. So 0 negative is before closing the switch. It will be I of tau d tau plus 1 by C 0 negative to 0 positive I of tau d tau plus 1 by C 0 positive to t I of tau d tau. Okay, and this will be my voltage across it. And what we think that after closing the switch, let me assume that there is no impulse or derivative of impulse present. So let me take this term is equal to 0. So I am assuming that impulse and derivative of impulses are 0. Okay, if this is the case, what will be my voltage either to charge or discharge? V of t will be now equal to the initial voltage across capacitor Vc is 0 plus the voltage appears across initially relaxed capacitor, right? That is 1 upon C here. Okay, now let me again evaluate at t is equal to 0 positive. So this is what I can write: V of 0 positive is equal to Vc of 0 negative plus there is no impulse, so it will be 0. So ultimately what it will be, V of 0 positive will be equal to Vc of 0 negative. I can write Vc subspace also. Okay, no problem with it. So what is the conclusion we can make it here? That if I'll do the switching, so whatever the behavior before switching, it will be same after switching. So there will be the continuous nature before and after switching. There will not be sudden jump or there will not be sudden change, right? So it satisfies the law of conservation of charges. Okay, so it means that there will not be sudden change in the charges. Okay, so that there will not be sudden change in the voltages. Fine. Okay, so this is what we can conclude from it. That is a charge in capacitor. It means that charge in capacitor cannot change instantaneously unless we will force it. Okay. Now second is that if my Vc of 0 negative, let's say my initial conditions are 0. So what will happen with it? It will become that Vc positive after applying the switching. What is my observation? That the voltage across capacitor is 0. So with this also I can make some conclusion that with the initially Vc is 0 negative 0 means what? Initially relaxed capacitor. Okay, so initially relaxed capacitor. So initially relaxed capacitor, what will happen if I'll switch on? If switch is on, what it will be? Not suddenly, means after switching the voltage across capacitor will be 0, means again one more conclusion we can make, that initially relaxed capacitor will be short circuit. Okay, then only your after switching your voltage is 0 and it satisfies the law of conservation of charge, that charge will not change instantaneously or there is no impulse present between Vc0 and Vc0 negative and Vc0 positive point. Okay, so for this let me draw its equivalent network. So this whole time varying voltage, let's say I have been applied say V of t. Okay, so this will be now series. Okay, Vc0 negative and this will be my initially relaxed capacitor. Okay, so this, let's say Vc0 negative and this will be my C, initially relaxed capacitor. The representation will be this, so that I can compute the voltages and currents after t is greater than or equal to positive. Okay, so now we know the behavior of inductors and capacitor before and after the switching happened. That is, our assumption is that we will consider that the impulse or derivative of impulse is 0. Now with this knowledge, next class we will see the network which consists of inductors and capacitors, and we will write the equations using mesh and nodal analysis. And once we know that, next we will see the charging and discharging, or what are the energy stored in this energy storage element, how it has happened, etc. Thank you very much.